When I talk to my friends over 60 about the downsizing they've done, the conversation usually starts with what they regret or what they wish they had done differently. So I've made a list of 5 things that they regret in the hope that you would learn from them or prepare for them and not have the same regret if you decide to downsize. So, number one, the most heartbreaking way I heard someone describe it was when she said, I gave away my story. And I knew exactly what she meant. When my husband and I first got married, we had bought a tree online, which we had never done before. When it came, it was basically a stick with some roots. We planted it, we whitewashed it, we nurtured that thing. It was an Asian pear. And over the course of 10 years that we lived in that home, it grew to a beautiful focal point in our garden. When we sold that home, it never occurred to me that the new owners might not be interested in it. And I learned that within the first year, they had taken it out in order to put in lawn. Nothing wrong with that. But had I known that, I might have gotten an estimate what it would cost to relocate a mature tree, or I might have found somebody who was good at grafting to see whether or not it would be possible to prune a few branches off of it and maybe have a scion off of it for our new garden. I had so many happy memories around that tree. And it really struck me that I didn't think to plan ahead. So here are a few strategies. You know, when she said I gave away my story, what she was really talking about was she gave away her history. So here are some specific things that you can do if you have something planted in memory of somebody, in honor of a first child, something that a parent gave you. Go around your garden now and identify those things that you would really regret losing if you relocated. If it's a tree or something that can't be moved, can you start taking family photos in front of it? So at least it will be in the background. If it's something that you can take cuttings from, start doing it now and potting them up. My next door neighbor has a Christmas cactus that's over 30 years old. It belonged to her mom and it's huge, but she takes cuttings all the time because she says she worries that if she kills the original, she still has all the babies from it. Is it something that you could divide and make multiples from? Or is it something you could take a slice of? We had to remove a beautiful akebono flowering cherry tree, and the trunk was like this. My daughter got the idea. She asked for a couple slices of it because she wanted to make them into trivets. So be creative, go around your garden, look at the things that right now you may walk by them without giving them a second thought, but if you didn't have them, you would sorely miss them. Number 2, making it too small or too low maintenance. This seems counterintuitive, but one of my neighbors said she misjudged what she would miss. She went from 5 acres to a small city lot. Our gardens are 60 by 100, and that includes the land that the house is sitting on. So our gardens are tiny. She thought that she wasn't going to miss the weeding, the daily chores. What she didn't expect was how much she missed just walking out the door and puttering around. When she had the larger garden, yes, it was more maintenance, but the big benefit was she could buy something at the nursery, come home, walk out the back door, find the right spot for it, dig a hole, plant it, stand back, and admire it. All the joy that gardening provides. What she's done differently and what she so much regrets is that the new garden being low maintenance, she said everything is buttoned down. That was the term she used. Now, if she wants to go out and buy something from the nursery, come home, in order to plant it, she says it's too much work. There's the drip system. On top of that is the weed cloth. On top of all the weed cloth, which is anchored down, are the redwood chips. And she said, it's such a big deal now to go out and try to plant something, move the chips. She has to cut a hole in the weed cloth, make sure she's not severing the drip. She said she never expected that a low maintenance garden that looks immaculate at all times would take away the joy of puttering. of going out and just fussing around in the garden, moving this and that, because everything, the term she used was, everything is so buttoned down now. So when I asked her if she had to do it over again, what advice would she give to other people? She said she misses having projects. And so what she would have done differently is to leave some areas not unfinished, but less formal, areas where she could still walk out, dig in the dirt, play with seasonal interest. Basically, areas where she can still putter around. Number 3, and I see this one all the time, making the same garden as you are leaving, only a smaller version of it. Designing it with the same overflowing beds, the same narrow, curvy walkways, the same beautiful stepping stones. In other words, designing the same garden you did at 30, only a smaller version now that you're 60, which is not a garden you're going to be comfortable working in when you're 80. So mistake number 3, translating everything you loved about the past garden on a smaller scale into the new garden without thinking about how you're going to be gardening 20 years from now. So if you haven't watched my video about changes you can make at 60 so you can still garden well at 80, I'll link it after this video. Number 4, choosing pretty over practical. In other words, copying magazine-style gardens that are gorgeous but are just not practical. I had a picture cut out on my vision board for the longest time. It was a small rectangular garden, and I used to look at that photo for years and drool over it. Every detail was incredible. I looked at it recently and the first thing that went through my mind was, who's going to maintain all those edges? It just looked so high maintenance to me now, 20 years later. So just because a garden is small does not mean it's the right fit for someone over 60. I think of it this way. In a small garden, every single element has to earn its keep because there are so fewer of them. Every detail counts. It not only takes up space, it has visual weight. So it has to be beautiful, easy, and safe. Think of it that way. In other words, if it's fussy, if it's high maintenance, or if it's a tripping hazard, it has to go. Before we get to number 5, a quick caution if you are moving into an over 55 or retirement community. I did have one friend in a retirement community who told me that the rules were so restrictive that not only could she not plant certain things, she wasn't even allowed to take out a tree from her own backyard. It was against the rules. So be sure and check that out. Number 5, giving away tools and equipment and pots and gardening supplies too soon, knowing that you're going to have a smaller space. I have known so many people that gave away high quality gardening tools thinking they weren't going to need them as much, only to go out and rebuy them when they got to their new garden. They somehow thought they wouldn't be doing quite as much manual labor. And then it was heartbreaking to go out and buy lower quality tools at a higher price. So pump the brakes on letting go of things too quickly. Slow down, because it would be terrible to get to your new smaller garden and find that you really miss those beautiful old tools that were friends for so many years. I hope these 5 tips have given you a bit of a blueprint for downsizing and avoiding some of the heartbreaking decisions that people have made and lived to regret. So thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.